All right, welcome back to Fill in the Void with Josie. I'm your host, Josie, and today I have two phenomenal guests that you're probably going to recognize these voices because they are coming back. They enjoyed their first episode so much they said, Josie, please, let us come back. And they even spoke to each other. And they said, imagine if we were on this show together. And you know what's interesting? When I was recording with one and the other, they kept talking to each other. They always love to engage in this friendly competition. So they'd be like, how was your episode? How was your episode? No, how was your episode? And they spoke to each other after after they finished recording with me to talk about, oh man, this could have been better, or I wasn't expecting this. So now I invited both of them on to speak at the same time because we're talking about friendship and we're talking about friends. And these two have been friends for a very long time. We're going to go into it. I have today on the episode my brother Julian Fomé. I'm not going to reveal his entire government name. You can check out season 1.
Hey guys.
Episode 13, I believe, for that one, or 12. And I have Francois joining me as well. Tyron, greet the people as well.
Yes. Thank you, Josephine, for having us on the show. Season 2. I'm excited to be on here. Your production quality has leveled up, as I can see.
We out here trying.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming. All right, thank you for coming both. So we're going to start off with a little game because I want to spice it up a little bit. All right. I hope you're ready. We're going to play Would You Rather, but with a university twist. Ooh. Okay. So that's our first segment. Okay. So would you rather take morning classes or evening classes?
Evening classes.
Okay.
I would say evening classes. Yes, I agree.
Evening classes.
Do you want like bullet point answers, or do you want us to elaborate, or is it just?
No. Yeah, go ahead. I'm curious. Why evening classes?
Well, when you're saying would you rather, it's like majority of the classes we took was evening classes.
Uh-huh.
So
You prefer evening classes to morning classes because?
The reason why, one of the biggest reason why is because we had the time to study, because after classes we went after classes was library time, so we had the tendency of studying late, and then it was kind of hard to wake up in the morning after going to bed at 3 or 2.
Okay, so you're both little night owls.
Yeah, especially in university, I think we studied late hours, and like Julian said, it was more conducive towards just studying late if you can go to school late. So I think that's the reason why we prefer evening classes.
All right, makes sense. Would you rather be on the dean's list for all semesters or have an enviable co-curricular record? And co-curricular record is what goes on your transcript, all the activities that you did throughout your university career that goes on your transcript, and all the scholarships or bursaries that you've won. Any additional information that is not grade related would go in your co-curricular record. So Dean's List all semesters or an enviable co-curricular record?
So I'll go first for this one since Julian went first without asking for the other one.
Excuse me, Tyron.
So on this one, I would definitely say the latter. I think having extracurricular activities is extremely important, and that does help you stand out in the future when you approach employers and you try to get a job. I think grades are extremely important, absolutely, but I think once you can demonstrate that you can excel not only in school but also in extracurricular activities, I think that goes a long way.
I would definitely agree with what he said. I think extracurricular activities permit you to put in practice that theory that you're learning from classes. Mm-hmm. So joining clubs and participating in clubs and putting theory to practice definitely kind of like give you a better gauge of how it's going to be in the workforce.
Okay. So
compared to grades, again, grades are very important. But when you get to the work field, because the reason why you want those good grades is to be able to, get a good job. Mm-hmm. When you get to those, to the workforce, you want to be able to put in practice what you learn and what you studied.
Right. All right. So we're over here. C's get degrees, but make sure you put your hand, the pedal to the metal, essentially.
Correct.
Okay. Would you rather do co-op or take a gap year? Now, I know both of y'all did co-op, but if you had to do things over, would you rather do co-op or take a gap year?
I'm expect. Well, oh, you would like for me to go next?
That silence was because they're looking at each other, trying to figure out who should go first.
Oh, it's you went first for the first question. I took the second. It's your turn.
That's the issue with John. He thinks he has to be binary. You can go next. You know.
Can somebody please answer the question?
Sure. I'll definitely keep it co-op. The reason why I love a gap year. No, actually, it's an interesting question. Let me think it again. The reason why I jumped at co-op is because yes, I did co-op, and I love the internship that we did, and I love the fact it was put in practice. You know, like you gain a lot of experience through those internships, and then we did internships in different because we study mechanical engineering, so doing co-op permits you to because mechanical engineering is kind of vast, so you work in different kind of fields, like in the mining industry, in the public sector, and stuff like that. So you get to see the wide view of how how a mechanical engineer could operate. But the reason why I'm saying the gap year, I think I would add that gap year in my co-op program.
No adding. It's a would you rather, either or, co-op or gap year. So you said co-op.
I guess. All
right.
Yes.
Tyron, what about you?
Hold up now. Okay.
Okay.
Madam host.
Or you can cut this out, Josephine. This is garbage time right now. Julian cannot be concise, so it's okay.
Julian can be concise.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just trying to pull out. The reason why I'm saying, like, there's a beauty about a gap year is because during our studies, like, yes, with the co-op, we did wish we had time to like put into practice. Like, I think after our first or second year, we did wish we had time to put into practice some business idea that, you know, that was coming up. Mm-hmm. So a gap year to put into practice those ideas. That's why I was saying, like, oh, that would have been fun to be able to do. But go ahead, Mr. Francois.
Okay, so it's nuanced. Tyron, what about you?
So when you say gap year, you mean just a general year where you're not in school, right? Where you can either be traveling or working? Is that what you mean?
It's really up to you, but so you're not in school.
Yep. So I would say, I think it's definitely different for different people, right? It's relative. For me, I would say if I had to pick between the two, co-op is definitely what I would say I preferred and worked well for me. I think it's kind of like what Julian was saying. You learn what you like, but you also learn what you don't like, right? I think that's extremely important. So then when you leave university, you know where you should take your career based on your co-op experiences. So for me, I would say being in a co-op is my choice.
Okay. Would you rather write an essay or sit for an exam?
What do you mean exactly?
So you know, at the end of, let's say for instance, it's the end of the semester, and depending on the program that you're in, a lot of times some people, instead of sitting for exams, sitting for like a 3-hour exam in an exam room, the teacher assigns a final essay. So you can just write it at home and then submit it via the online platform that they give you. Or, you know, if you have to sit for an exam, you have to come into the school, do the exam, you have 3 hours or the allotted time. And then after that, that's it, that's all. And you can, you know, it could be, you study for it, you come in, you take it, and then that's it. So would you rather write an essay, write a final essay at the end of the semester, or sit for an exam at the end of the semester?
I would say that's a great question. I think in our case, being in engineering, it's less essays, more, I guess, like technical reports or final projects. I would say that's a great question. I think for me, it would be an exam, like being in that environment. Like sometimes it can be quite stressful, but there is something quite rewarding and kind of stimulating about like preparing mentally for an exam, doing a lot of exercises, studying, having a firm grasp of the subjects sometimes, and then going into the exam and, hopefully doing well. It's like, it's stressful, but it's also rewarding, especially when it goes well. So I would say that. And it's also because it's very finite. You know that, okay, you'll work and you'll get to this this chunk of time where you have to do your work and do your work in that 3-hour window, however long the exam is, and then you're done, right? I think for a final project, it could always be better. There's a due date, but you could always add to it. You know, you have more, I guess, room to make mistakes or to just add too much, or there's less constraints. And I think there's a lot of beauty in having like a very determined amount of time where you just go in, you do your best, and you leave. So I would say I prefer personally just having a final exam.
I concur with that answer right there, because for me personally, having that that room where is less constraint kind of lead to procrastination. You know, let me push it off. So like when you know that there's an exam coming, like yes, you could procrastinate in your time of study, but you kind of like know you can plan better as well. I guess you could do the same thing with an essay, but I would definitely prefer the exam over writing an essay.
So for the exam. All right. And so for this final would you rather, I want you all to come up with it. Tyrone, you can ask Julian, or Julian, you can ask Tyrone. One either or question related to university and studying.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I had to provide that structure for you because I saw your eyes starting to look crazy.
Shot fired was coming.
All right, I got one for you, Julian, and answer transparently. You got to tell Julian this ahead of time, you know.
What are you saying?
Please give me an honest answer, okay?
What are you saying?
If not, you know, he'll go in the gray zone. But yes, so the question is, would you rather, and think about it before you answer, would you rather?
I hope so. What's up with this?
Because I know you'll say
all these guidelines. Be honest. Think about it.
Because I know you too well. You'll say the answer that, you know, people want to hear, but not your answer. Yeah.
All right. What is it? All
right. So it's since you said it has to be related to university.
Yeah.
Julian, would you rather have a firm grasp on a material, right? Like know it really well, but somehow get a C, right? But you really understand the material really well, right? And you can put into practice, and practically you know it really well. And just for some reason, either you didn't have time to finish the test or whatever reason, but you didn't execute well on that day. So let's say you get a C on an exam, but you do know it really well, or you crammed last minute and you happen to remember a bunch of facts and you're able to get an A, but you immediately forgot it the next day, right? Yeah. So one is like you have retention and mastery, but you get a C. Somehow. The other one is you have short-term retention, but you get an A.
Yeah.
Right? What would you rather do or have?
That's an easy question. I don't know why I need to think about it, you know.
Okay, that's an A with no retention. No, seriously. Is that your answer?
No, of course not. I definitely love because being true to myself. Like I love better to have understanding. Like not the reason why knowledge is powerful is because like nobody can take it from you. So I prefer having the knowledge within me, and like even if it took time to like actually put it together on paper for an exam, like but I know I have that knowledge within me. So yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, Julie, your turn to Tyrone.
Like yeah. That was kind of easy for you. I come up with that question. It was a good question, but like you made it look easy off the dome. Let me think. You gonna cut off the silence?
Oh, sure, I can cut it.
No. Let the people know how long it takes them to come up with the answer. Come up with the question. Let them know.
Yeah. Let the record show.
Yeah, let the record show we sat here for an hour. You know, before he came up with a question.
The video might show it, but I think I'll cut it for the audio.
Okay, I guess I'll make it easy. Would you rather Yeah, would you rather change or maintain? Okay, so would you rather change your experience in terms of the 5 years and a half that we had through university, or would you want to would you wish to have or would you rather have like the normal 4 years that it was supposed to take?
That's a great question. Definitely, I wouldn't change anything. I think the reasons that contributed to us staying later, I think specifically, I guess talk from my perspective, is there's a few reasons. One, it was working part-time initially, right? And I think that allowed for, I was working like a lot of hours, and that allowed, but even though I was working a lot of hours, even though I would say it allowed me to develop skills that I think were useful outside of school, right? You're talking about like interpersonal skills. I think that's extremely important. Teamwork skills. So I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't not work in order for me to be able to graduate sooner, right? I think another reason was the internships, right? Taking 8 months and a half as opposed to the standard 4 months. So I wouldn't change that because that allowed me to get some important work experience. And then finally, one reason that we took longer than the normal 4 years is dropping courses, right? I think in the beginning, it was a lack of discipline, right? Wanting to do well in a course, right? I think I know for myself, I can think of 2 classes that I dropped and I knew I was not going to fail, right? It's like, I just wouldn't get the grade that I wanted to get, right? And I was like, if I'm not going to get an A, then you know what, I'll do this next semester. And I think that thinking changed over time and I became more disciplined. And so no, I wouldn't change the fact that it took us longer to graduate than 4 years, because I think the reasons why I did not allowed me to improve myself, if that makes sense.
That makes absolute sense. I do have to give you a little shout out because we did go from taking 2 classes a semester at the beginning to you finishing the last semester with 6 classes, which is almost in our school, I think 5 is the max, and to get the 6th one added, you need to go to the headmaster, if you will, to get permission, and he approved. So, and he passed all of them.
Wow, that's amazing. And honestly, I feel as if that's a lot of things that going into university, y'all had the foresight, I guess, and the understanding that, okay, you know what, if this isn't really working for me, I am okay with letting it go. And I guess it's a sacrifice that you choose to make. Am I sacrificing the money that I put into this class, into this semester, into this tuition, or am I sacrificing, I guess, the grades and my overall record in comparison? And not everybody can make the decision to be like, okay, I'm gonna just drop this midway through. And some people don't even know that they have that decision and option. And so I think that's why stories like this are so necessary. You have to really think critically about, are you enjoying yourself? Are you enjoying your class? Is this the best that you could have done? Do you have other options? Can you take them? Go for it. Okay, well, thank you so much for playing. I think this was interesting. Let's take a quick break.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Thank you.